Hello everyone, Cool Guy here with Planet Destiny, and today we're going to do another Versus series with a popular Scout archetype. These three weapons are of the same archetype as the Vision of Confluence, so they have a rate of fire of 37 and an impact of 48. And for this video, we're going to do something a little bit different. So there are 8 total legendary Scout rifles that are obtainable in Year 2 with this archetype, not like the others. Lethe Noblesse, Saterienne Rapier, Treads Upon Stars, Tuonela, Hung Jury, Doom of Chelkais, and the Suros Dis 43. To better understand the 3 that we're talking about today, what I've done is I've taken the primary range, stability, reload, and magazine stats of all 8 of these weapons, and for each stat, I rank them and then average them. This is going to help show the strength and weaknesses of each weapon that we're covering today. I've chosen the Lethe Noblesse, Saterienne Rapier, and Tuonela for this video, and for very particular reasons. Each weapon's going to get a full review, and one of them can shine in PvE, one can really shine in PvP, and one just might be the most balanced Scout within this archetype, and they're all a perk roll away from becoming very deadly, so let's get into it. Going forward for the base stats, when I say average, we're talking about the archetype as a whole and where the weapon falls. So for all 8 Year 2 Scout rifles combined, the average range is 67, the average stability is 52, the average reload is 62, and the average magazine is 16. Starting off, we have the Lethe Noblesse. It can be obtained from the Challenge of Elders in your 30,000 score on your sigil. It's the Year 2 upgraded version of the Hygiea Noblesse, and in comparison, Year 2 gets 4 more range, 6 more stability, same reload, and 3 more magazine. As far as rollable perks, in the first node, some of the best rolls you can get are Crowd Control, Zen Moment, Triple Tap, Life Support. Middle tier perks, Icarus, Hot Swap, Eye of the Storm, and some of the least desirable perks, Last Resort, Exhumed, or Who's Next. Top node in the middle tier, all good, Explosive Rounds, Armor Piercing, High Caliber, Perfect Balance, Field Scout. In the middle, Injection Mold, Hand-Laid Stock, Feather Mag, Casket Mag, and Braced Frame. Bottom node, Custom Optics, Oiled Frame, Rifled Barrel, and Small Bore. In the final perk node, top tier perks are Outlaw, Third Eye, Hidden Hand, and Reactive Reload. Middle tier, Underdog, Grenadier, Army of One, and Guerrilla Fighter. Now, Guerrilla Fighter's okay, you just have to find the cover that it procs with, especially in PvE, it's a good perk. Your best rolls are going to be with the top tier perks from nodes 1 and 3. So Crowd Control, Zen Moment, Triple Tap, Life Support, in any combination with Outlaw, Third Eye, Hidden Hand, or Reactive Reload. And if you get something like Grenadier or Army of One, that's going to be alright. To show how strong this weapon is, again, remember those averages that we went through? We're going to put them back up on the screen. Its 70 rage stat is above average, 53 slightly above average, 64 above average, and its magazine is 17 above average. There are only 2 Scout rifles of the 8 that are above average in all the primary stat categories, the Noblesse and the Hung Jury. The only knock on the Hung Jury is it has a low aim assistance stat of 26, but if you've ever used that weapon before, you know it's really not an issue. The Noblesse has such strong stats that realistically you can do good with any roll, and I have one of the lesser ones that you can get. I have Icarus, Explosive Rounds, and Army of One, and I'm still enjoying it. I think of my weapons as tools that I use for certain aspects of the game, and the Noblesse can do well in PvE and PvP, but it's all dependent on the rolls that you get. And depending on those rolls, it might lean more towards PvE or PvP, but this particular Scout can really shine in PvE, and I'll tell you why. If you get something like Triple Tap and Casket Mag, it'll bring your magazine to 21, so we're talking about 28 total shots being thrown at your enemy without reloading. Most bosses, Malak, Archon Priest, to name a few, they're just going to let you tee off on them, you can just hammer them down. Casket Mag does reduce your stability, but in PvE, that isn't so much of a worry for me. That's one of the reasons why the old vendor Hung Jury was so good. You had Triple Tap and Casket Mag to get your mag to 20 and beyond, and then you have Firefly. If you wanted to switch to PvP, you can just take off Casket Mag, add the Hand-Laid Stock, and Eye of the Storm. That vendor roll was one of a kind, and it's really hard to replicate. On the Noblesse, the stability is the weakest point, even though it is above average, so if you reduce your range with something like Hand-Laid Stock, it's okay because the base range is so high. But if a perk gives you stability and decreases your mag, it's going to lower it to 13, but that leads us to the Gunsmith's Tuonela. The Tuonela SR4 can be obtained from the Gunsmith's rotating stock. The perks are a little bit different on this Omelan Scout. Top tier perks in the first node, Triple Tap, Rescue Mag, Life Support. Okay ones, Icarus or Replenish. Middle node, all good, Snapshot, Quick Draw, Single Point, Extended Mag, or Lightweight. Now the bottom node is where you can run into some trouble with this weapon. Hand-Laid Stock, Feather Mag, Rifled Barrel, Casket Mag, Small Bore. So it already has a low magazine of 13, so when you decrease it, it's going to get to 9. We don't want that. The last perk node is really good because you get 2 rolls for decent perks, so you get to choose one of the 6. The top node has Grenadier, Army of One, Firefly, it's an Omelan Scout, Third Eye, Zen Moment. The bottom perk node has 2 really good ones, Underdog, Eye of the Storm, and then some least desirable ones, Exhumed, Surrounded, or Danger Close. For its base stats, it has average reload at 62, below average range at 62, and below average magazine at 13, so it's not sounding good so far, but why this weapon is included in this video is for its stability. The average stability is 52, and the Tuonela sits at 69. Not only does it have the best stability of all Year 2 scout rifles, as a matter of fact, it has the best stability in the whole history of the entire archetype. So there's 19 of them. That includes things like the Calling, Salvation State, 0 Point Life of the Party, Cryptid Dragon, all of them. Stability is the Tuonela's strength, and like I said earlier, I use these as tools for certain situations in the game, and this weapon excels in PvP for me. What's nice about the gunsmith weapons is you can kind of look at the rolls and pick and choose as you go. You want to do one of two things with it. It has a high base stability stat, so if you go for range, that's going to be okay if you end up decreasing your stability, but I recommend to complement the Tuonela by adding another stability perk. Without reducing your magazine, something like hand-laid stock. Look at what happens when you max out your stability. It reminds me of the Tlaloc and Overflow. Not so much the rate of fire and the damage dealt, but more so of the stability. The recoil is pretty much non-existent. The gunsmith roll that I have has Replenish, hand-laid stock, which reduces your range, and Firefly, so since the primary usage for this is going to be in PvP, the reduced range is not an issue on most PvP maps. You hit for 61, at some of the longer ranges, you do experience damage drop off, but it's usually in the high 50s, and that's still a 4-shot kill for it. This is a scout rifle that performs very well at short to medium ranges, but still has the benefit of being deadly at some of the longer engagements. Going back to some of the other scout rifles, you get a good stability perk, but it's usually going to drop your magazine down to 13, and you don't reach max stability. With the Tuonela, you start with 13, and you can reach maximum stability, so that's huge. You're extremely precise with it, and a couple of things are happening with that. When you're taking fire, you have two view kicks going on, one that you see when you're firing, and the other is when you're getting flinched. Since it does have max stability, the very top of its recoil pattern, when you get flinched, it isn't going to go up any higher, and you can recenter to your target easier. We're going to take everyone's favorite weapon in the game, the Doctrine of Passing right here, against the Saterienne Rapier that has a stability stat of 74. When I get flinched, I can never fully recover because it's flinching me so hard. Now take the Tuonela with high stability. Now when I get flinched, I'm not thrown off my target so much, and I'm able to get my shots back on. I carry this weapon with me at all times. It's actually one of my top 3 favorite weapons in the entire game, and that's including exotics. So the next time the gunsmith rotates the Tuonela, grab one, try it out, you might just like it. And last but not least, we have the Saterienne Rapier, and from its Year 1 version, no stats were changed. It has the same rollable perks as the Noblesse, so we won't really get into those. The same good rolls still apply with this one, and just like the Tuonela, it has a 13-round magazine. And with that, your mid-tier perks can get you into trouble. Like right here, I have Brace Frame on it. My stability is almost max, but my magazine goes down to 9. It's kind of offset because I do have Outlaw to compensate, but I don't recommend it. The Rapier I have chosen as the best middle of the road of the 8, but it's all perk dependent, just like most of these weapons are. So for the base stats, above average range at 74, average stability at 52, above average reload at 74, and below average magazine at 13. The key to it is perfect balance, and with perfect balance, it ups your stability at 74. So its range, stability, and reload stats will all be at 74. It makes for a very well-balanced scout rifle. And to add to mine, I got Crowd Control in Army of One. It's a weapon that I can use both in PvE and PvP and have some fun with it. It's very well-rounded. And something like hand-laid stock is going to be just as good, reducing your range but upping your stability. It's a scout rifle. It has very high inherent range. In conclusion, the Noblesse is one of 2 above-average scout rifles within this archetype. It's very strong in PvE and PvP. Anything added to it perk-wise is only going to help it out, and if you decrease the stat, it's not really felt too hard because its base stats are so high, and that's because the Noblesse is a top-tier weapon in this game. With Tuonela, very strong PvP scout, hand-laid stock on it will get you max stability without decreasing your magazine of its low 13 rounds. And again, hand-laid is very good for scout rifles in general because most of them have a decent range stat in the first place. You won't see too much of a difference in damage drop-off in PvP. Just be on the lookout for a hand-laid stock one in the gunsmith rotation packages. The Rapier is strong with the stability perk. Perfect balance will level everything out. Hand-laid stock is going to be good. And I chose this weapon because its stats outside of stability are very high, but the stability is at the average point. Be on the lookout for perfect balance. Be on the lookout for hand-laid stock. That's the key to it. Let us know in the comments what rolls you have on these weapons and how you're liking them. I am Cool Guy with Planet Destiny, and my personal channel is going to be in the description if you want to stop by and say hi. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you out there, Guardians.